Welcome everyone, I'm glad you're joining us for a story that's as complex as it is important. Today we're diving into a story that rarely makes global headlines but quietly shapes the future of Southeast Asia, influencing the lives of millions across the region. When we think of regional tensions, the South China Sea usually comes to mind. Naval standoffs, disputed islands, and superpower rivalries that dominate the news cycle and international debates. But there's another, older dispute simmering quietly in the background, the Sabah issue, a conflict with roots that stretch back over a century. Sabah, a beautiful and resource-rich land on the island of Borneo, is at the heart of a long-standing disagreement between the Philippines and Malaysia, affecting both nations' sense of sovereignty. This isn't just about territory, it's about history, identity, and unresolved questions from the past that continue to echo through generations. For Malaysia, Sabah is an inseparable part of the nation, woven into its national fabric and celebrated as a symbol of unity and diversity. For the Philippines, it's a historical claim that's never been abandoned, a matter of national pride and unfinished business. The dispute affects millions, shaping trade, security, and daily life for people on both sides of the border, and influencing regional stability. Understanding Sabah's story reveals how old wounds and colonial legacies can still shape modern geopolitics, fueling tensions and uncertainty. We'll explore how a century-old agreement still sparks tension, and how this issue erupted into violence just a decade ago, reminding us that history is never truly past. This is more than a border dispute, it's a human story, a regional drama, and a test of diplomacy and resilience for everyone involved. Join me as we uncover the untold story of the Sabah showdown and discover why this issue matters now more than ever. Sabah is called the land below the wind, a place of rainforests, mountains, and vibrant cultures. Its landscapes are breathtaking, from the misty peaks of Mount Kinabalu to the dense jungles teeming with unique wildlife. The people of Sabah are just as diverse, with indigenous groups, Malays, Chinese, and others living side by side, each contributing to a rich cultural tapestry. For Malaysia, Sabah is a vital state, developed and promoted as a top tourist destination. Its beaches, islands, and natural wonders draw visitors from around the world, making tourism a major pillar of the local economy. The state's resources, from palm oil to timber, also play a crucial role in Malaysia's growth. Sovereignty over Sabah is non-negotiable for Kuala Lumpur. The Malaysian government views Sabah as an inseparable part of the nation, protected by law and national sentiment. But the Philippines sees Sabah through the lens of the Sultanate of Sulu, an ancient kingdom that once ruled parts of Borneo and the southern Philippines. The legacy of the Sultanate still echoes in the region's history and identity. The Philippine claim is rooted in the belief that Sabah was only leased, not sold, to a British company in the 1800s. This interpretation of colonial-era agreements remains a cornerstone of the Philippine argument. This claim is a point of national pride, especially for those with ties to the Sultanate. For many Filipinos, the connection to Sabah is personal, passed down through generations. The heirs of the Sultan keep the claim alive, fueling a persistent disagreement. Their voices are heard in courtrooms, in the media, and in the hearts of those who believe in the Sultanate's legacy. Despite close ASEAN ties and economic cooperation, the unresolved claim is a constant source of tension. Diplomatic efforts often run up against the deep-rooted emotions and historical grievances on both sides. Sabah is both a peaceful Malaysian state and, in the Philippines' memory, a lost territory. For some, it represents hope for justice. For others, it is simply home. This dual identity is the heart of the dispute, a clash between modern statehood and historical rights. The past and present are constantly in dialogue, shaping perceptions and policies. Any incident can quickly reignite old tensions. Even minor events can become flashpoints, drawing international attention and stirring public emotions. For Malaysia, Sabah is a key economic contributor. For the Philippines, it's unfinished business. The stakes are high, not just for governments, but for ordinary people whose lives are shaped by the dispute. The issue remains potent and emotionally charged, shaping politics and identity on both sides. Leaders invoke Sabah in speeches, and citizens debate its future in homes and public squares. It's a reminder that history and national pride can keep disputes alive for generations. The story of Sabah is not just about borders, but about belonging, memory, and the enduring power of the past. The Sabah question is far from settled. As long as history shapes identity, the legacy of this beautiful land will continue to spark debate and emotion. To truly understand the story of Sabah, we must journey back to the year 1878, a pivotal moment that set the stage for a dispute that still echoes today. In that year, the Sultan of Sulu entered into an agreement with British traders, an agreement whose true meaning has sparked debate for generations and remains shrouded in controversy. The heart of the matter lies in a single word: pajak. In English it was translated as "side," suggesting a permanent transfer. But the Philippines argues that pajak actually means lease, implying the land was only temporarily given. Britain, however, acted as if Sabah was theirs outright, administering the territory and eventually transferring it to the newly formed Malaysia in 1963. From Malaysia's perspective, the matter is closed. Sabah joined the federation, and that, they say, is the end of the story. Yet the Philippines and the Sultan's heirs maintain that the land was only leased, not sold, and that the original agreement never intended a full transfer of sovereignty. To this day, Malaysia continues to make annual payments to the descendants of the Sultan, a detail the Philippines points to as evidence that their claim is still valid. This disagreement over translation and intent has fueled more than a century of diplomatic tension, with both sides refusing to back down. In 1962, the Philippines officially filed its claim to Sabah, and the issue resurfaces time and again, especially when political stakes are high or national pride is at play. The 1878 agreement, a relic of colonial maneuvering, continues to cast a long shadow over modern diplomacy in the region. Every so often, the claim is revived, sparking new waves of protests, heated debates, and official denials from both sides. The legacy of a single word, pajak, continues to divide two nations, shaping their relationship and fueling nationalistic fervor. The dispute is a tangled web of law, language, and national pride, with each side presenting historical documents and legal arguments to support their case. It's a powerful reminder that the fine print of history can shape the fate of millions, affecting not just governments, but the everyday lives of Sabah's people. The Sabah question remains unresolved, echoing through generations and reminding us that some chapters of history are never truly closed. For years, the Sabah dispute simmered quietly, until 2013. That February, about 200 armed followers of Jamalul Kiram III, a sultanate claimant, landed in Lahad Datu, Sabah. Their goal: reclaim what they saw as ancestral land. The standoff shocked Malaysia and drew global attention. Negotiations failed, and tensions escalated. Eventually, Malaysian forces launched a military operation, ending the siege with dozens dead. The incident exposed the dispute's volatility. This was no abstract claim, but one people were willing to fight for. The aftermath strained Philippines-Malaysia relations, fueling anger and mistrust. Malaysians were stunned by the violent challenge. Filipinos were divided over the Sultan's cause. The standoff revealed security gaps along the porous sea border. It was a painful reminder. Unresolved history can erupt into real-world violence. The Lahad Datu crisis left scars that still shape regional security. It proved that old grievances, if ignored, can have deadly consequences. The Sabah dispute is not just a matter of words, it can turn deadly. The Sabah dispute isn't just a diplomatic headache, it affects real lives. The porous border is a hotspot for smuggling, piracy, and kidnappings, complicating security cooperation. Mistrust makes joint patrols and anti-crime efforts harder, putting the region at risk. Economically, Sabah is a magnet for Filipino migrant workers, but tensions can lead to discrimination and uncertainty. The dispute discourages investment, as businesses fear instability. Diplomatically, the claim is a constant thorn, resurfacing during annual payments to the Sultan's heirs. For the Sultan's descendants and Sulu communities, the claim is about identity and justice. Political opportunists can exploit these grievances, fueling instability in the southern Philippines. The shadow of Sabah touches security, trade, and the very identity of border communities. It's a dispute that shapes daily life as much as high politics. The Sabah dispute is local, but global powers loom large. China's assertiveness in the South China Sea sometimes pushes Malaysia and the Philippines to cooperate, but can also drive wedges between them. Beijing could use its influence to back one side if it suits its interests, playing divide and conquer. The US, a Philippine ally, wants regional stability and freedom of navigation, but avoids taking sides on Sabah. A major conflict would destabilize ASEAN, a nightmare for Washington. Both Manila and Kuala Lumpur know their actions are watched by Beijing and Washington, which can moderate their behavior. The presence of global powers adds complexity, forcing both countries to weigh every move. The dispute is a local drama on a global stage. Outside interests can inflame or calm tensions depending on the moment. Sabah's fate is shaped not just by neighbors, but by the world's giants. Both countries have learned to manage the Sabah dispute without letting it spiral. The Philippines keeps its claim alive but pursues quiet diplomacy, focusing on cooperation over confrontation. Leaders know that pushing too hard could damage vital economic and security ties. Malaysia's stance is firm. Sabah is theirs. End of discussion. Whenever the claim is raised, Malaysia responds swiftly and decisively. Despite opposing views, both sides compartmentalize the issue, working together on security and trade. Their pragmatic approach shows political maturity and a desire for peace. The dispute is managed, not solved, but that's kept the peace. Cooperation outweighs conflict, even amid deep disagreement. ASEAN plays a quiet but crucial role in keeping the Sabah dispute from boiling over. The ASEAN way emphasizes dialogue and consensus, not confrontation. Regular meetings keep communication open, allowing leaders to diffuse tensions informally. ASEAN can't force a solution, but it prevents disputes from spiraling out of control. The organization's non-interference policy limits its power, but its value as a peacekeeper is immense. By fostering trust and regional identity, ASEAN makes war over Sabah unlikely. The final resolution must come from the Philippines and Malaysia themselves. ASEAN's framework keeps hope alive for a peaceful future. In a region with a history of conflict, that's no small achievement. The Sabah dispute shows how history shapes the present and the future. There are no easy answers, but peace demands creativity and dialogue, not violence. Solutions could focus on people cross-border cooperation, joint development, and building trust. Diplomacy is key, managing the issue carefully and resisting outside manipulation. Joint research or third-party mediation could help, but only if both sides agree. The story of Sabah tests the maturity of both nations and ASEAN itself. A peaceful resolution would show the world that even the toughest disputes can be overcome. The goal: respect history, but build a future of progress and peace.